Welcome back to the post game recap. It's me, B Hum. I'm here with Camden Allison, Tate Stewart, and Captain of the Rooks, Ray Radke. How are we, gentlemen?
We're doing pretty good. Just another day of talking whiffs.
Mm,
Doing great, doing great. Glad to be here.
A plus on the intro.
thank you, thank you.
Yeah, that was beautiful. All right. With that being said, let's go ahead and just dive straight into it. We have game one of the week four slate. We have the Crooked Rooks versus the Cosby Show. It looks like y'all took that one in a home run derby. So just kind of walk me through that, y'all.
I will. That was Tristan's first game pitching, I think, and so he's kind of knocking the rust off at first. So we jump out to a 3-0 lead. But the Rooks here, we don't like to do anything easy, so we're just going to immediately give that back to him in the next inning. We might have had a couple throwing errors. I know I spiked one about 2 feet in front of me on a double play attempt, and then I think Tate might have thrown one into the clouds with 2 outs. And they did try to call tag on B Hum from the warning track, and I will say we were about maybe 2 or 3 inches away from a B Hum defensive highlight. So I'm just putting that out there. You might want to be a little bit careful calling tag on B Hum because dude's got a cannon. So just something to keep in mind. But
Couldn't agree
anyway, I think
more.
we went. What do you say, B?
I said I could not agree more.
Oh yeah, and I think we go into that last inning. We needed to get a hit to go to the swing off because they were up on bases. I think I got a single, and then we go to hit it off, and we after losing last week, I got to give Tate credit. Tate came to me. He had some good ideas for changes to implement to our swing off strategy, and I agreed with him. We made the change, and we won the swing off 2-0. So credit to Tate. Maybe he's got manager in his future.
About that one, I'm a little bit of a PR HR merchant, but this game I think we played pretty well. It wasn't too shabby. Could have done a little better, but yeah. And of course, I have to error in every game at least once. It just happens. It's football, but we got the job done. That's all that matters.
Brian, any takes?
Really, we did what we needed to, got it done, and that's how we do. We want them close, just to make people watch for longer. So yeah.
I like that. All right, so let's get into week game two of the slate. We have the Wiffle City Vibes versus Whiffin' Ain't Easy. Wiffle City Vibes will take this 1-0. Thank you to a solo shot from Cade Turnage. I personally didn't see anything that happened in this game, but I know y'all were on the field right next to them and maybe even watched a YouTube video or two. But with that being said, what were y'all kind of takeaways from this game?
I don't think any of us saw it live because we were in a fight with Cosby, but I did watch all three of the Whiffin Ain't Easy games on YouTube to look at their new pitcher. And I will say this: I think Whiffin Ain't Easy has got their pitcher to help Brandon out when needed. He looked very good out there. Shuts down the vibes. The only mistake he makes is he hangs a pitch to Cade. Otherwise, they might win that game on total bases because they were up on total bases before he gives up the home run. I think he held Jesse to 0 for 4, and I looked over at the field at one time and I thought I saw a bird, but it was Jesse's bat flying about 200 feet out of the box. So he he had to be doing something right to make that happen. So I think this is good for Whiffin. Whiffin ain't easy. I think they might kind of turn the season around with their pitcher. And so, who's your daddy? I wouldn't get too comfortable with that 7 spot because the 8th spot's coming for you.
I totally agree with you on this race. Now that they have their pitcher, they only need. I mean, they just need to bat. I mean, Chris went over 4, Zach went over 3, Landon and Garrett both had 1 hit each. I mean, if this team starts swinging, they definitely could start making a little bit of a comeback. A little scarier of a team. What do you think, Brian?
I think the most impressive part of that game is just purely the speed and lift that bat got flying through the air. He just, I was in the outfield and I caught a glimpse of it over the home plate. It was just incredible to watch.
I think
Oh man,
Cam, you got some insight, right? Because they've got another
I
guy
do
coming.
I do have some insight. There's another Landon. They're actually friends, is from what I've been told. Come from the same spot. I guess they played whips before. They did some Josh Jung tournament. and they played together. But they're kind of like the opposite. Like one's a solid hitter, good pitcher, one's a good hitter, solid pitcher. So not only will they get a little bit more pitching, but they might actually get some help from the offensive point of view. So yeah, be ready for that. Going into game three, we have the Flying Turtles versus Who's Your Daddy. The Turtles will take this one 5-0, which was honestly, I thought they were going to win by more, but win was terrible. And I heard that affected from what I've heard from the Flying Turtles, is that affected some of the runs that they could have put up. With that being said, like, what do y'all think about this game?
I do agree. The win was awful on Wednesday. There was a lot of balls that were hit very hard that didn't even make it to the warning track. I know, at least for us, me and Jackson, and I think some of us were making adjustments to try to not get the ball over the pitcher's head, because if it got over the pitcher's head, it was going straight up and coming down. Uh, even though with the win and stuff, you still got to give props to Taylor. Holding the Turtles to 5 runs, even with the win, is no easy task. So I think that's a good sign for Who's Your Daddy. And, they just kind of ran into a buzzsaw that at that point in the season, nobody had been able to beat. So
Yeah, I mean, who's your daddy? You just got to find the barrel. They didn't have a single hit all night, and that's also props to Matthew. I feel like Matthew's definitely slept on, especially hitting behind, like you said, Kim. They're hitting behind Connor and Ian. So, but I think Matthew's really slept on as a pitcher. But this who's your daddy team just needs to find a barrel, and keeping them to 5 runs. I mean, honestly, they had a chance.
Yeah. Brian, what are your
Just
takeaways?
just sad to see Gage's power just drain so quickly, and ruin his whole season. But that happens to somebody sometimes, and it's just unfortunate. And we'll hope he gets better, and we'll move on.
He did hit 750 in this game, but his power is
Yeah,
draining.
but single, 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 like that's cool. They're probably all three errors and really just weakly hit balls. But yeah.
that's real easy to say as someone that didn't have to pitch to him when we played him
Yep, yep,
next. So
yep. No, but just know, like everybody here, we hate Gage, and we want him motivated. Ain't that right?
yeah, I'm gonna disagree.
Okay.
Gage's gonna get y'all are gonna mysteriously gonna get y'all are gonna get the Turtles game one next week, and Gage is gonna hit 4 home runs, so that'll
I doubt it.
come right back to this podcast.
I know if I'm pitching, Gage is not hitting 4 home runs because he's not going to get to swing at a pitch. But
That's kind of the strategy this year. Uh, anyway, hopping into game four, we have the Ball Busters versus the Blue Ballers. That is a 7-2 ball game. Blue Ballers will take the win with the winning pitcher being Austin Martin. Playing in this game, it's just one of those things where it started real well. It was a 0-0 game in the first, and then you have one bad inning, and it's hard to come back from there. I threw that game, which I went three up, or like three up, three down in the first inning, I believe, and then the second inning I proceeded to let up 6 runs. I guess that's just baseball, but only scoring 2 runs is also not great. So we just wasn't one of our best games. I don't know if y'all watched this game or anything, but what are y'all's takeaways from it?
I watched it. I watched both two of your games. I watched this game and I watched the game you played against Cosby because I saw that you were getting more innings pitched, and so I didn't want to. Next time we play the Busters, have no clue what to expect out of you. So I did do a little bit of scouting on you as a pitcher. I also scouted Austin because in the championship the Ballers threw um,
Henry.
Henry at us, and I was not expecting that either. So I just want to make sure I scouted some of the pitchers that we hadn't seen. I also scouted the Whiffin Ain't Easy Landon, and it looked like you had. I think you've got a pretty good drop ball right now, and it'll just be developing that second pitch. It will be your next step to get to the. I wouldn't say elite tiers because as someone who's a pitcher, it's very hard to get on that elite pitching tier list because whoever makes that has got high standards. So don't set your sights too high. None of the Rooks made that list, and we're pretty terrible at pitching. So maybe you can do better than us. and get on that list. But I wouldn't hang your head. I think it was a very atypical offensive night from the Ballers, and you've also only have two fielders, so I'm sure there were a couple hits that probably wouldn't have been hits if you'd have had somebody there in the right spot. But all in all, I think keep your head up.
Yeah, just nothing too much about this game. I feel like the blue ballers just absolutely. I mean, they just slugged. I mean, it's blue ballers. Can't expect much, especially I know you don't think you pitched that well, but it's not as bad as you think. I just think the blue ballers hit really well. So anything
I
you
will
got,
say
Brian?
this for Austin. Austin's got three different pitches he's mixing in, and it looks like the movement and location's going pretty well. So, I think as far as pitchers, the blue ballers are developing a lot of arms that they can throw out. I don't know.
Great.
We haven't really seen a team throw four different pitchers in one game, but I think if any team's going to do it, it's going to be them because they've got a lot of options.
I like what Ray said about only having two fielders. That's very original, and I'm glad he came up with that. I think it's a great point, and it probably sucks for the Ballers. Just great scouting by Ray, all by him.
Thank you for your insight.
Yep.
Going on to the next round, we have the Crooked Rooks versus the Whiffle City Vibes. It seems like y'all took this one in a home run derby, I believe. Yeah,
That's
no,
incorrect.
that's
Very
incorrect. Wrong
incorrect.
game, wrong game. It looks like y'all won this one
It was eight
eight
to
to
three, eight to
four.
four.
8-4, yeah.
Beautiful.
So just let me know how did that game go?
We'll let Brian start off.
So really, just from the start, we were locked. You could tell that we're gonna have a great night. We saw Jesse got a bit intimidated, like a little bit, but then we realized who we were and what we've been training for. And then 8 runs on the board, you can't complain with that. Just great performances by Jackson and Ross Norman. So you just love to see that.
I mean, as a team, I think we all hit really well. Jackson going for 3 for 4 race, Dean and Ross going for 2 for 4. I just want to highlight Ross. That this is his first time ever seeing Jesse as a rookie, and he had a bomb and a double off him. So I just wanted to highlight Ross. For being a guy who just started playing wiffle ball, I was not expecting him to hit anything off Jesse just because we know Jesse's pitches, and he really surprised me there. So, and props to Race on the mound. He only pitched an inning, but I mean,
I
pitched
pitched
better
one
than I did in my
one and
opinion.
2/3. It's a little more than just an inning, but
Sorry, 1 and 2/3. My fault. But he pitched, in my opinion, better than me. So, I mean, he
My
only let
opinion
up.
too.
also don't forget about Dino Dick Dean. He also did pretty good his first time seeing Jesse. I feel like I remember the first time we saw him our rookie year. I think we got no hit until Jackson got a 2-out loop single. So props to both of them for figuring it out a lot quicker than we did. And I'm pretty happy with our performance because I did not think we were going to win by that much with Jesse on the mound. So glad the bats woke up. There was a lot of people riding the RBI horse that game. So all in all, good job from the Rooks there.
Yeah, and I believe with that win, this was y'all's first week in being in the championship game. Just how does that feel?
Oh, it feels great. Feels great. Last year we made it one time when Tate wasn't here. So that was the first time Tate's ever got to play in the championship game. Also last year, I mean, we didn't win our first game except for the 2 or 3 weeks we played Who's Your Daddy, and then two of those three times we immediately lost the second game. So, and we did this exact same thing to start the year this year. So as a team, that was something I think we were trying to focus on was putting together the first two games and having a chance to get there. So, and I think other than having to play the Turtles at some point, this was a pretty tough route to win it. I wouldn't say it was like we didn't get like a super easy draw, but the Ballers definitely helped us out by knocking the Turtles off, so we didn't have to play them. So we'll take that every day.
Absolutely.
But going into that, the Ballers beating the Turtle in, I believe, a home run derby. Austin Martin was the solo home run in that derby. What do you think kind of went into that game? It looks like Jack Hoving was on the mound. It was a 2-2 ball. I believe it was a, yeah, 2-2 ball game. Jack Hoving was the winning pitcher. I don't know if y'all watched this game or anything, but what did that game kind of look like?
Yeah, more of a box score watcher for this. I watched about an inning before, but I didn't watch the whole thing. But going through the play by play, I think we got to give props to Jack. I think a lot of people this year, when they've been facing Gage after that week one, the approach has been just put him on base. That's the worst he can do. That's the best thing that can happen for your team. And Jack was like, no, I'm going to pitch to him, holds him to 0 for 3 on the night, only gives up one walk. So I think that's, that's pretty gutsy with the way he's been hitting. I think he's on a run that we haven't seen before in this league. So to just say, I'm going to pitch this guy and get him out 3 times, not let him get on base, not let him get a hit is pretty huge. And then also for, as hard as the Rooks are on our fielding with, me, Tate, and Jackson throwing balls away left and right, I do see on here that the Turtles end up giving up a run because they failed a double play. And so I think maybe we should be a little less hard on ourselves if even the greatest team to ever play the game is going to be failing double plays. Maybe, don't be too hard on yourself.
Yeah, I see that Gage West went 0 for 3 in this game. Is this the decline that we were projecting to see of Gage? I mean, personally, I think he's washed. So, I mean, this is kind of the game that staples that. I just see that, and I wonder what are the Turtles going to do? I mean, this is
Well,
devastating.
well,
Season ending.
you knew the dynasty was over when the music cut off during the third game. That's clearly that their mental is gone. They couldn't handle, like some Katy Perry in the background. So, it's a good situation to monitor, and it could be really bad for them.
Oh man, we're gonna get a first round matchup with the Turtles. I can feel it. I can feel it.
Grace,
Bring it.
how does it feel to manage this PR nightmare that is Tate and Brian?
You know what? I mean, as long as they play like they did last night, I think it'll be okay. I think last night was one of the first times we backed up all our talk and shenanigans. So I'll take that. But we're definitely going to get drug at some point because I mean, I don't think it's sustainable to win the championship every week, and so at some point somebody's going to have some good things to say, maybe from the Turtles side or Twibble Talk or the sipping coffee. But it's easy to talk when you're up. Let's see what we feel like when we're down again.
Also, since we're up real quick, I just want to say that, honorable mention, not even on the top 18, just won the championship. So just wanted to throw that out there for everybody listening.
You're talking
Any
about
thoughts,
me, right?
Brian?
You're talking about me?
I mean, yeah, me and you. I mean,
Right,
we're not even
obviously.
on the list, and we
Just,
carried the Rooks. So
just the media over there at Sipping Coffee, the fake news and the deep state involvement in that whole system is it's really beginning to get to me.
yeah, we could see it on the field for sure.
Right. We could also see
Anyway,
your goofy
let's
facial
get into
hair.
the championship game. Crooked Rooks. This is y'all's first championship game against the Blue Ballers. How does it feel to come away with one?
Oh, it feels great. Looked at the calendar, and it looks like the year the horse came a year early. It was supposed to be 2026, but it definitely showed up Wednesday. Um, we had the horse for the RBIs. We didn't have an RBI that game. We got a run on 2 pass balls, but that we'll take it. We'll take it. And then the pitching was very good. I think we had a no hitter going into the last inning, and then me and Jackson did a comically bad error running into each other on a fly ball to third base that ruined that for us. And then we give up a walk, but that's why we got Tate Stewart on the mound for these high leverage situations. First and second, 1-run lead, nobody out, and Tate's able to navigate that and get us the win. So that's why we got him to come in and close games for that situation right there. Anything else for y'all too?
I mean, I think our pitching strategy is starting to come together pretty well. I mean, other than that, we pitched amazing. I think the bats could have been a lot better. Probably should work on that. We had 4 guys not hit a ball. But on their side, they didn't have anybody hit the ball either. So I think it was a really well put together game. Real pitching duel. Anything for you, Brian?
I think the best inning get going, but it's still a deserved win considering, the previous games, how well we played. And, it's hard for the ballers when they come up against us, being that they are our children, that they had no chance in the first place.
So I can't be on here.
I'm very interested in see like what happens next week with y'all. But
Yeah,
regardless,
this is gonna get
Losing every game.
We might go over 3.
well, I appreciate y'all boys' time. Thank y'all for coming on, and I will see y'all next week.
All right, see y'all.
See ya.